Namaskar, good evening. My this Sunday's video on sanatana dharma zeroes in on Drona's dramatic downfall in the Kurukshetra war and the critical lessons his life's journey imparts to the modern generation. I cannot stress enough the importance of watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing my YouTube links with your relatives and friends, both in India and abroad, to fully absorb the profound wisdom woven into our ageless scriptures. And after Gadotkaja's demise, the battle persisted throughout the night with the warriors on both sides propelled by an indomitable will to secure victory. Recognizing the toll that exhaustion had taken on the troops, Arjuna advocated a temporary cessation of hostilities until the moon's ascent, a plea that was duly honored, granting the soldiers a much needed reprieve. As the conflict resumed under the moonlight, Duryodhana chastised Drona, accusing him of favoritism. In response, Drona, despite his ethical reservations about deploying celestial weapons against incapacitated foes, pledged to continue the battle with unwavering resolve. Drona then unleashed his formidable celestial arsenal, wreaking havoc on the battlefield and engaging in an intense duel with Arjuna. Observing the devastation, Krishna, astutely aware of Drona's deep paternal affection, devised a stratagem to break his spirit. He proposed deceiving Drona into believing that his beloved son Aswathama had perished, a ruse that would inevitably lead Drona to relinquish his will to fight. Though Yudhishthira, renowned for his unwavering adherence to truth, was initially conflicted, but he reluctantly consented to participate in the deception. And Bhima subsequently killed an elephant named Ashwatthama. And then, when Drona sought confirmation of his son's death, Yudhishthira, in a moment of profound internal conflict, declared Ashwatthama is dead, subtly adding the elephant under his breath. Trusting Yudhishthira's word, Drona, overcome with despair, laid down his arms and entered a state of meditation, at which point he was treacherously slain by Drishtadyumna. So, Yudhishthira's role in Drona's death encapsulates his in a significant ethical quandary. As a paragon of virtue and righteousness, his involvement in this act of deception marks a stark departure from his usual moral conduct, leaving a deep scar on his conscience. This event underscores the complexity of moral decision making, illustrating that life often presents scenarios where clear cut answers are elusive, and even the most principled individuals may find themselves compelled to compromise their ideals for a perceived greater good. Yudhishthira's choice, driven by the imperatives of leadership and the exigencies of war, highlights the immense burden borne by those in positions of power, where decisions often necessitate personal sacrifice and moral compromise. And the psychological and ethical turmoil that Yudhishthira experienced following Drona's death serves as a poignant reminder of the lasting consequences that even well intentioned actions can have on one's conscience and inner peace. This episode teaches us that While it is crucial to strive towards our ideals, we must also recognize the harsh realities of life, which may occasionally demand pragmatic adjustments to our principles. Yudhishthira's involvement in Drona's demise offers a nuanced reflection on the intricacies of ethics, leadership, and human condition, reminding us that the path of dharma is often fraught with challenging choices, even for the most virtuous souls. And the death of Drona instilled a profound sense of terror and demoralization within the Kaurava ranks, compelling many to flee in panic. Ashwatthama, engulfed by grief and seething with anger over his father's demise, vowed to exact retribution and prepared to unleash the Narayana an immensely powerful divine weapon. Following Krishna's counsel, the Pandavas surrendered and laid down their arms, aware that only those displaying no intent to engage to combat would be spared by Narayanastra. Once the Narayanastra was pacified, the Pandavas regrouped to confront the Kauravas anew. An unyielding Ashwatthama summoned the Agneya weapon, unleashing a cataclysmic inferno upon the Pandava forces. Arjuna countered with the Brahmastra, resulting in a titanic clash that wrought widespread devastation on both sides. Recognizing the futility of his efforts and witnessing Krishna and Arjuna emerge unscathed, Ashwatthama ultimately retreated from the battlefield. Now, the 15th day of Kurukshetra war stands as one of the most intense and consequential chapters in Mahabharata, offering profound insights relevant to contemporary life. Key lessons from this pivotal day include the Drona's blind fealty to the Kauravas drove him to launch a relentless assault on the Pandava forces, resulting in catastrophic losses. And this underscores the perils of blind loyalty and the ethical quandaries it can engender. And the lesson here is to uphold ethical principles and moral integrity even in the face of strong allegiance. This teaches us that in both personal and professional realms, one must not forsake their values for the sake of loyalty to an individual, organization, or cause. And Krishna's counsel led the Pandavas to mislead Drona into believing that his son Ashwatthama had perished, and which ultimately prompted Drona's surrender and subsequent death at the hands of Drishtadyumna. This scenario illuminates the ethical complexity surrounding deception. It imparts the importance of meticulously evaluating the long term repercussions of our actions and moral ramifications of the strategies we adopt. And consumed by fury over his father's demise, Ashwatthama unleashed the Narayanasra, a weapon of unparalleled devastation. His actions, but it was only subdued through the Pandavas' strategic surrender. His actions highlight the ruinous effects of unchecked anger and pursuit of revenge, and this serves as a compelling reminder of the necessity for emotional regulation, the pursuit of peaceful resolutions, and the hazards of letting rage distort judgment. These events weave a rich narrative of lessons, urging us to approach life with sagacity, ethical discernment, and a profound sense of responsibility toward others, principles that are essential in navigating the complexities of the modern world. And coming to Drona, a seminal figure in Mahabharata, embodies a complex interplay of duty, loyalty, and profound internal conflict. His life, replete with contradictions and moral quandaries, offers deep reflections on human nature and ethical dilemmas. Drona's renown as a preceptor and unparalleled, uh, endowed with the martial prowess required under the tutelage of Parasurama, he emerged as the esteemed instructor of Hastinapura. His mentorship sculpted the destinies of both the Kauravas and Pandavas, notably propelling Arjuna to the zenith of archery. A particularly contentious episode in Drona's life involves Ekalaiva, an exceptionally gifted archer. Despite Ekalava's earnest request for instruction, Drona, bound by his commitment to Arjuna, refused him. And when Ekalava uh, surpassed Arjuna, Drona demanded a severe Guru Dakshina, the young prince's right thumb. So this act underscores the Drona's adherence to duty and the ethical compromises entailed, reflecting the stringent social hierarchies of that period. And Drona's profound affection for his son Aswathama significantly influenced his actions during the Kurukshetra war, and his overwhelming parental love often clouded his judgment, making him susceptible to manipulation by Duryodhana and leading him to make decisions that conflicted with his own principles and duties. And Drona's relationship with Drupada, once characterized by camaraderie, deteriorated into enmity after Drupada's disdainful dismissal of Drona in his time of need. And Drona's quest for vindication led him to leverage his role as a teacher to capture Drupada, reclaiming his honor but skewing the terms of his erstwhile friendship. So this act set the stage for Drupada's war of retribution, ultimately contributing to Drona's tragic fate. And Drona's death was precipitated by strategic disease orchestrated by Krishna. Misled into believing that Aswathama had perished, Drona was overwhelmed with grief, and Bhima, acting on Krishna's counsel, killed an elephant named Ashwathama and misrepresented the truth. And Yudhishthira, adhering to the nuanced form of truth, confirmed the demise ambiguously. Stricken by despair, Drona renounced his weapons and sat in meditation, only to be beheaded by Drishtadyumna, an act deemed ignoble and dishonorable. Drona's narrative is a profound exploration of duty, loyalty, and moral repercussions of personal attachment, and his story reveals the intricate balance between duty and personal allegiance, offering a sobering reflection on the tragic outcomes that arise when these principles are misaligned. His legacy remains a powerful testament to the complexities of ethical decision making and human condition. Wishing everyone happy Krishna Jayanti, Janmashtami, and a wonderful week ahead. Best regards, Raju Krishnan, Hyderabad.